Alright, there we go. I'm sorry, first of all, for the noise. So I've basically put on a filter on the microphone to try and dull out as much of the fan as I possibly can, because it's rather loud. But it's absolutely roasting here, so there's pretty much no way I'm going to be sitting here without it on, to be fair. So if it's annoying, I'll turn it off. I can actually turn off the filter and you'll be able to hear the fan a lot louder, so we'll see what that's like later on. If the sound is terrible, I'll see what it's like. I'll just switch it off and you can let me know. Martin Dix, hey Martin, at work, so a quick hi. Yeah, I know, I think everybody's at work at this time. I know I've just missed Daryl. Daryl said he's just going back in from his lunch break. Maybe I should do like 12 o'clock sessions. Just do 12 till 1 or something, so everyone on their lunch break can just jump in. Definitely going for a Grot kill team. Yeah, Grots are amazing. They're the fact that they can be leaders is brilliant. And like you can have a bunch of orcs and commandos, and then you have a tiny little Grot leading them. I just think that's brilliant and comical, which is what orcs are supposed to be. And there was, I don't know if it was a Forge World model, but there was a really cool model for the Grots, which hey Ramyam, there was a really cool model for the Grots which had like almost like a commissar Grot. He was in a giant greatcoat. He was cool. Simon Key, watch it. Alright, so what am I doing? I've been persuaded to do 40k again because I've been doing Age of Sigmar. I've been on the Age of Sigmar train for so long now that I've kind of forgotten. Varak, welcome Varak, and Coyote. I've kind of forgotten what 40k is all about, and the problem I have with starting a new project is I always go overboard. I always plan like 2,000 points and then do 500 points and then switch on to a different army. I just butterfly far too much. So Kill Team was a brilliant way to do this, to get back into 40k and try it out on a small scale before branching out. And it's a way to try out different factions, because I've never figured out. Oh, there we go, the Red Gobbo. Both of you have said that. Yeah, I've never fallen in love with a 40k army. Like Age of Sigmar, I could pretty much delve into every single army and I'm absolutely fine with it. But 40k, I find it a little bit harder to do. So I'm hoping, one, this is a way for me to try out a bunch of different factions. I'm going to do Nurgle. I say I'm going to do, right, this is, I'm not actually going to do all of this. But intentions are, I can see myself doing a Nurgle force. Obviously Harlequins, because I've got a bunch of Harlequin kits. I've had some ideas for a while to mix Wood Elf kits and the Harlequins together. I was going to do a Wood Elf army converted completely, but this is a small project. I've done a small team and it's like 5 models. So it's really, it's a small amount of models for me to actually do, and then I can just play some Kill Team games with Phil and the rest of the guys, and I can see how I enjoy them. But Nurgle is another one because I've got a bunch of models for those somewhere. I did. What I'd probably do again is, because it's conversions that are my favourite thing, this probably won't show up too well, but it's the Blight Kings from Age of Sigmar, and I just really like the models. I think they're one of the best kits that they've done in a long time. That's some PVA cape that I was experimenting with. Actually came out alright. If you put PVA glue on a plate or something and put it in the microwave for about 20 seconds to 30 seconds, no more, and you've got to stop and start it every 5 seconds, it shrivels up and it becomes solid, but it has like a really flayed skin effect on it. So if you want something, a cape for Nurgle or Necrons, if you wanted to make flayed ones, using PVA glue and putting it in the microwave is a brilliant way to do an easy cape. And afterwards you can chop and fix it and then just add some green stuff to it to finish it at the end. But I'm probably going to give that another go. And Necrons is another one I could see myself doing flayed ones just by using this PVA glue technique and buying 1 box of Warriors and converting the entire kit. So Nurgle are really cool. I've got a few models and I can see myself painting these up fairly quickly. So Harlequins, Nurgle, and Imperial Guard's always one that I've been tempted to do, just because of Starship Troopers. I think I'd do a full, you know, Rico's rednecks and roughnecks. Is it rednecks? I like calling them rednecks. I think they are roughnecks, but Rico's rednecks are much better. So that's 3 teams straight away, and I'm sure there's more. As soon as I look through the rules for them, I'm like, yeah, there's another one. So the idea for these is there's going to be 5 of them. I've only played 1 game of Kill Team, and that was with minimal prep. So I really haven't had a look through the rules and figured out the best way to make the team. But I do like the idea that the Harlequins have got flip belts, so they can jump over terrain and it doesn't cost them any movement. And I was looking at their stats, and although they can get to the enemy really quickly, they've got a 3d6 charge, so they can really, you know, get in there. When they get there, they don't necessarily have the damage to kill the thing. It's not like it's a huge advantage, because if you charge in against another combat model, which there's a lot of in Kill Team, then they'll probably just bat you aside. But I still like the idea that they've got a lot of mobility and they can maneuver around the battlefield quite gracefully. And just the flip belt made me instantly want to do them, because I like the idea of them running up to a building and kind of flipping over the top of it and landing on the other side perfectly. And they've got this really cool weaponry. They've got, I can't remember all of the names. They've got a Harlequin's Kiss, which is this weapon here. I don't know how well this will show up, but it's like a wrist-mounted shuriken cannon or catapult type thing that they use just to blow holes in things. And rules wise, it's got D3 damage, so in Kill Team it's quite effective, because when you roll in for the injury, if you manage to get you roll the D3 for the damage. If you roll a 2 or a 3, you're rolling 2 or 3 dice to try and do the flesh wound to them. And I think that's going to be quite key to Kill Team. And other than the Harlequin's Kiss, the Harlequins have only really got the Fusion Blaster that's got multiple damage weaponry options. They're all close combat, which I'm fine with. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give them the fusion pistol, wherever that is. No, that's not it. There's a pistol. I think I've got more than enough. So 5 dudes, or dudettes, because I know they are females and males in this kit. And they will all have either the Harlequin's Kiss, and I might give them the Harlequin's Caress, I think it's called, which is this wrist-mounted thing. And that kind of projects a field around their wrist, and I think they can punch holes through stomachs and like rip out hearts pretty easily. So I might have 2 with the Harlequin's Caress, and then 3 with the Kisses, and all of them are going to have fusion pistols. But because of the posing on them, I might see if I can find some holsters. I don't know. I don't think Space Marine holsters will work for these Eldari type pistols. The Harlequin's Kiss is stabbed into an opponent and unravels a monofilament wire into them. I thought that was the other one. Hold on, let me have a look. There's 3 melee weapons you can switch to. And I thought the Embrace. I thought the Harlequin's Embrace was the one that did the monofilament. And that one is this one, because it's like the Warp Spider type weapons. So I thought that was it. I might be getting it mixed up then. Either way, there's 3. There's one which is like a wrist-mounted thing off the side, and that punches holes through hearts. There's I think it's the Embrace, which basically embraces them with the monofilament wire and like encases them, and then it like shreds them to pieces. So I've almost got the image of like lasers. Resident Evil, I can't remember, I think it was Resident Evil 1, where they go into a hallway and there's all these lasers that come out and just chop people to bits. That's what that is. And then the Harlequin's Kiss is the one that's wrist mounted and is really long, almost like a shuriken pistol-y type thing. Simon Key, Gorka Morka. Oh, that was where he was from, okay. Ramyam saying, you making Kill Team Harlequins out of Glade Guard. It's bits. I mean, I've got some Glade Guard. Ideally, I would have had the other, what are they called? Wood Elves. Wild Rider dudes. And I've got some of the kit left over, but I used all of the cool heads, the hooded heads, for my Scions that I did a couple of years ago. So I've only got these robe bits left. So I was looking at the Glade Guard purely because they've got these really cool hooded heads. But they're not as cool as the Wildwood Rangers, so I would probably get those. Kiss is stabby, Embrace encompasses them. Okay, I need to have a look again. Oh, I've got it here. Harlequin's Kiss, a sharpened tube attached to the forearm. The kiss can be punched through an enemy's armour and flesh. High tensile monofilament wire contained within the weapon then uncoils, reducing the target's inside to a gory soup. Okay, so yeah, it literally stabs through them. I thought the Embrace grabbed them. The Harlequin's Embrace is a wrist-mounted weapon which boasts similar technology to that found in the Death Spinners carried by Warp Spider Aspect Warriors. They are triggered a second before the wearer charges into combat They project a cloud of monofilament wire that quickly contracts around the foe, slicing them to bloody... Okay, I'm getting confused. So they both use monofilament wire. The kiss stabs it into them and then it basically explodes. And the embrace goes around them and then slices them into little bits. And then the caress is the one which is a wrist-mounted one, and that allows them to reach through their foe's armour and pluck out their hearts as easily as though he were running his fingers through thin air. That's pretty cool. I like the idea of the caress. I thought it was like a ring that they had, but it is a wrist-mounted one. I like the idea of having a Harlequin's caress on like a finger-mounted weapon, just a little ring, and just some dude running into combat unarmed, basically. Right, what else we've got? So Chapter Master Valrak is doing Scions, Deathwatch, Grey Knights, and Rogue Trader. Rogue Trader's a really good one. I've not seen anybody talking about doing that, and I haven't caught any of your streams recently as well, so I apologise about that, Valrak. I know we need to catch up fairly soon, but maybe kill team's the way to do it. Maybe if I get a kill team done, you've got all your kill teams done, we'll meet up, and then you can kick my butt. Chapter Master Valrak, Custodes one day, yeah, if they release, they've got to do them really, haven't they? Emperor of Denmark. Not seen you in a long time. It has been a while since I was able to watch your live streams. To be fair, we haven't been doing many live streams in a while. Both myself and Phil have been quite busy doing a lot of things behind the scenes. We've been quite busy in real life, and obviously that takes time away from doing the streams and doing the pre-recorded stuff. And with all the stuff that we've been sent from Games Workshop and other companies to review and get on with, it's limited our time quite a bit because you know, by the time as you've seen with Games Workshop's releases fairly recently, it's been one after another, and there's no real time to stop and get on with the normal schedule that you'd be doing, which is not a bad thing because you've constantly got new things to talk about. But at the same time, it's difficult to schedule it because you just get something arrive, and then it's like, oh, okay, we need to do something with this because, you know, we've been sent it, and we want to stay on good terms with Games Workshop because it's great getting stuff early. It's great being able to have a look at it ahead of time and share it with people as soon as we're able to, because we have the dates and the times come up where they tell us we can share things. So it's nice that we can do that from the get-go. Right, what am I trying to do with these? I've been looking at... Where are they? So this was another kit that I did when I did a conversions for the Scions. I knew these would come in useful at some point as well. So I've only got... I used the capes from these on the Scions, but I've got the chest pieces left and some of the legs. And I think some of these arms will work quite well as Harlequin blades. And I think Rule of Cool is going to, like, overtake everything. Proceed. It's going to be priority. Rule of Cool out of this kill team. So although I'm going to kit everybody out pretty much the same, they're all going to have fusion pistols and they're all going to have one of the two weapons, melee weapons. I might have a couple of them using, like, wielding Harlequin blades, and that's why I was looking at this glaive thing. I figured if I could get one of maybe the leader of the unit to be wielding a glaive, a double-ended glaive, I think that would look pretty cool. And I want them to look quite dynamic, so once I've figured out what bits I'm going to be using, I'm really thinking of chopping into these quite a bit and giving them flowing capes. The reason I like these Shadow Warrior chest pieces is they've got these neck cloth things, these little gorget things that go around the neck area. So I figured they would look good, but they wouldn't work with the hooded heads. So I'd have to have another option. The other problem I've been running into with these is the fluff on Harlequin. So if anybody is in the chat now or can, you know, leave a comment afterwards, how key, this is pretty daft, but how key is the Harlequin mask to, you know, for them to actually need it? Because the Harlequin mask is the one thing that's put me off. I like the fact that I could paint a normal face. I don't necessarily like the masks, and I know that they kind of don the mask and then become Harlequins, but I'm also thinking they're guarding the Black Library. The masks can change from what I've read, that they can, if say like an Imperial Guard dude stares at one of them and he's like, oh, scares him, the guard will see what their fears are through the mask. So it's nothing's necessarily going off, but the person who's opposite them will see things that will scare them in their own way. So I'm figuring maybe I'll do like a small kill team which are actually inside the Black Library, or are like the final defense in the Black Library. So proper elite Harlequins, as you can do in this game. You just go for the elitist ones, and they don't wear masks. They're that scary that their face just does it, you know. And I'm thinking maybe get rid of the masks and do something a bit more unique with them. Big Rich is off. See you later, Big Rich. Heading to work. That was the other thing. I've been doing some work with, doing some freelance work recently, which took a month, basically. So that's another reason why I've had a lot less time to do stream stuff, because I was doing that solidly, because I was just like a chunk of money that we needed to pay for a lot of stuff. So I've been focusing on that. I've had the dentists. I've had problems with dentists since last year because they were rubbish and basically messed up a routine treatment, and it's led to the point now where I need to pay for private dental care, and it's like £500 for one tooth to be worked on, and if that doesn't work, it's going to be like £2,000 for an implant to change the tooth, or to have an implant tooth. So I've had to raise a chunk of money for that as well, which has been not easy, but with everything else that's going on. But that's just another life issue that's thrown at you from time to time. So this chest kind of works. This is the Harlequin back with the Shadow Warrior front. It's not perfect. I'm going to have to probably green stuff, or maybe just give him some more cloth around the shoulder pads. Normally I just chop things up and then see how it goes for models. And that might work. Coyote, to me the masks are signature to the Harlequins, at least in my opinion, even more so than the bright costumes. Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I was saying it was a bit stupid, really, that I was thinking of removing the masks. The other thing I was thinking of removing all the diamond painted clothing. I thought I'm not too keen on all of that. So basically, the reason that I like Harlequins, see, I'm just chopping into it now. The reason I love Harlequins is the weaponry and the mobility. I really like the grace, you know, that you imagine them jumping around the battlefield with these really cool wrist-mounted weapons, and that's what makes me want to do them. The stuff that I don't like about Harlequins are the masks and the brightly coloured, daft-looking clothes, in my opinion. I like the idea of having quite graceful killer assassin-type dude with dark robes or trench coats or something like that. So that's what I'm going to try and do, and I know it's not going to be... You're not going to look at them and go, yeah, they're Harlequins, but there's only 5 of them. If I break the internet because I've destroyed Harlequins, then unfortunately that's what I'm going to do. So there's going to be a lot of chopping and changing with these. And right now I'm just chopping huge chunks off this chest piece, and I'll go back in with green stuff. So these will look a right mess to begin with, and then I'll fill all the gaps and tidy them up later on with green stuff. Dentistry sucks, Sam. I feel your pain. Yeah, I mean, so I went in for a root canal and they didn't take the root out. So for a week there was like an exposed nerve, which was quite painful. That was when we went to Warhammer. So we went to Warhammer World last year, and we were on their Warhammer TV playing a game of 40k. And the morning that we were supposed to be driving down to Games Workshop was the morning I went back into the dentist for them to redo the root canal treatment, because they left the root exposed. So that's why I was almost not going to make it. And Mike, bless him, so Mike was going with Phil and Rachel, and he was like the second person who maybe would be playing. So if I couldn't make it, we were like, you're going to have to step in, Mike. And his eyes, literally like a deer in the headlights, was like, oh, I can't play 40k. I've never played Custodians before, and you're expecting me to go on the Warhammer TV and play this battle report against Phil. And yeah, his face when I actually turned up at Warhammer World, he was just like, thank you, you've arrived in the end. So this has been going on for a year now of issues, and they messed up that badly that I've got to go get it done privately again somewhere else, because the NHS just won't touch it. So at the minute, I can't even have cups of tea or coffee. It's been about a month now, and I can't have hot or cold stuff. So if anybody is in England and knows that tea is basically the lifeblood of most people here, I'm basically not having it. It's horrible. It's unbearable. I don't know how people manage without tea or coffee. I certainly can't function at all. So me and Phil have started... Oh, I'll tell you in a second. What's this? Coyote. So a whole team of solitaires. I haven't read the lore on solitaires. This is the thing, you can help me out and kind of explain to me what the hell is going on with Harlequins and how many rules am I breaking by the idea that I want to do. But if solitaires are really dark assassin badass Eldari, then yeah, that's what I want to do. I did read something where they were saying that I think it's the Death Jesters, or that so each of the Harlequins belong to 3 different types of Harlequin. I think there's the light, the dark, and the twilight. So and they all play different roles depending on which part of, well, which type of Harlequin they are. But the Death Jesters, basically, they turn up on the battlefield, they shred things to pieces, and they're just like chuckling the whole time and like just enjoying slaughtering people. I really like the sadistic nature of Death Jesters. So I think a team of Death Jesters and Solitaires will definitely work. There we go. So that, although the back part of the Harlequin's coat thing is sticking up a bit, I can probably make that work. I can green stuff that together, so that will work quite well. Maybe I do a whole team with these Shadow Warrior cloak things. Forget the hooded heads, or maybe I sculpt some hooded heads over the top of some masks. Okay, maybe I'll do that, Coyote. Maybe I'll keep the masks, I'll sculpt a hood, and they'll have their neck things as well. So they'll look kind of assassiny. They'll still have the masks, so they're iconic. And they'll have the trench coats and maybe some capes and things as well. That way, it's like Hovis, best of both. So, right, let's chuck this onto here. I need to remember as well, after this stream, I need to order some more super glue. It's the one thing that I cannot run out of when it comes to converting, because you generally just super glue it together to weld it in place and then fill the gaps with green stuff. Plastic glue works when you put in a model together that's got, you know, points that connect to each other quite well, but I find converting stuff, you need to wedge them in place to begin with. So where's that going to go? It's probably there. It's going to be a bit of green stuffing to do. The Solitaires are the ones with black trench coats and are all mopey, but are a solo elite in Warhammer 40k. Death Jesters are the heavy weapons. Okay, so I'd like to have a mix. I know in the Harlequin teams you can't have Solitaires or Death Jesters. The only choice you get is players, but they've still got a bunch of different choices for weapons. So, oh god, I'm really running out of super glue. So I think I'll probably, maybe we'll run them as Solitaires, but just say they're players, so I can use them rules-wise. They'd probably need to be a lot nastier if they were actual Solitaires, though, because I've seen them in the battlefield once or twice where they basically turbo across and destroy everything in their path. I think the masks with hoods and scarves will look cool. Good. I'm glad I've got your approval, Coyote. You're the official Harlequin guru now. So you're going to have to say yes or no whenever I do something with them. And if you say no, I'll just have to kind of, just remember, I've got to try and make it work. So enough to be different and cool, but close enough to not destroy the Harlequin lore. Oh, yeah, this super glue doesn't even stick. Gorilla Glue is by far the best super glue, normally. But this stuff doesn't want to work. Solitaires become blenders in melee. There we go, that kind of works. So I'll fill that with some plastic glue and I'll carve out the back part of this. Maybe I need to zoom in a bit. I'm an Eldari player. Awesome. So you can see there, it's not a perfect fit, but it's not bad. Saying they're 2 different kits. One's from Age of Sigmar from like 7 years ago, and one's last year. So I'll file down this top part here and I'll turn it into a scarf. Then they've got this sort of roby trench coat thing on the bottom. And then I just need to figure out what I'm going to be doing with the legs and the weapons. It's not bad for a first jimmy together. The other thing I've got are these Glade Guard capes. So I'd obviously have to clip off the quiver on the back of these and then green stuff it afterwards. But I was thinking maybe on some of them that don't have the trench coats, I can put some of these on the back of them. Yeah, that kind of works. Kevin Pedrick saying, I find Loctite best. I used Loctite for years, and then I switched to using Games Workshop, which the old Games Workshop stuff that came in the brush, the thin super glue was brilliant, and it bonded everything great, and because it had the brush, it was perfect to apply for the models. And then they released these really terrible little ones in bottles, not bottles, what are they called? Like little squeeze things you get from the pound shop. And they're just rubbish. Like you put together one model, if that, with one of these things, and they're not cheap. So I stopped buying Games Workshop, and then I was looking at different super glue, and I found, what was the one we use? Vital Bond. Yeah, the same people who do the activator. And Vital Bond's good, but it almost feels like thinned down super glue, so I stopped using that. And then I found Gorilla Glue, and I've literally never gone back to anything else. Gorilla Glue is easily my favourite. It's not the cheapest, but it's still not super expensive. I think it's like £4 for a bottle, and that's 15 grams, and it lasts a long time. I normally have like 2 or 3 saved up, but I've been building all of those Kharadron Overlords, so I've run out of those recently. Yes, it was, but then ones are terrible. Don't know which ones are terrible, unless you're talking about Games Workshop as well. The Games Workshop glue, which was just, I don't even know if they're still selling it. I don't know. They normally nail everything. You know, they've been doing we've been doing really good with all the releases from Games Workshop, and then they brought out super glue that just was like really poor. And I was just saying, I remember saying to Phil and Mike, and just like, how can they mess up super glue? There was nothing wrong with it. Maybe they changed providers or something. Ralph, just checking in for 5 before heading back to the beach. I'm really jealous, Ralph. Saying that's really hot here. This is the point where I have to wear a vest and put a fan on. Otherwise, I'm just getting really hot. How do these even... Maybe that's the wrong way around. There we go. That's weird. I hope you're enjoying your time on the beach, Ralph. Shouldn't you be using plastic glue or just your preference? Yeah, like I said, normally plastic glue to weld them together. If I'm converting, I use super glue because these bits, they're not designed to go together. You know, I'm putting 2 completely different kits together at angles, which has left gaps. So normally where your plastic glue would weld together and make the 2 parts meet, it doesn't work when I'm doing the conversions. So afterwards I go back through with this extra thin Tamiya cement, and you can kind of put that over the top of something when it's been done. So I'll fill it with bits and pieces, and then I'll do that over the top. Simon Key, I'm using Kill Team as an excuse to mess about and ignore lore a bit. My AdMech are painted to look like NCR Rangers from Fallout New Vegas, small elite teams that don't hold to the rules. That's a really good idea as well, Simon. And like I was saying with the Imperial Guard, you can just do Starship Troopers. You can pick something from some films or games and make them to work in Kill Team. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm kind of bypassing the rules on the Kill Team Harlequin side of things, because there's going to be like 5 models at the end of the day. I'm not doing a full army. I'm not spending a lot of money and time converting 2,000 points worth of stuff. I just spend a good bit of time making really cool, unique models. And if it's blasphemy, then whatever. There's only 5 models and they look cool at the end of the day. I probably wouldn't do it on a whole army against the lore, because I kind of like reading the background and trying to make it fit as much as possible at the best of time. Coyote, I can't justify using glue by hobby companies. The markup is extreme. Yeah, I mean, like I say, super glue from Games Workshop wasn't expensive. The stuff in the bottle, I honestly thought that was the best stuff with the brush. I bought Gorilla Glue with the brush, and it's not designed for miniatures, so the brush is huge. Whereas Games Workshop's was great, absolutely brilliant for building stuff. But in general, yeah, they normally just mark it up. It's the same thing as you buy from other companies, just with an added price hike. So I agree with you on that. Like I've used army painted glue in the past, and honestly, I preferred the Vital Bond, and that felt like thinned down super glue, so I wouldn't bother with that. But I know other people love army painted glue and swear by it. Same as the paints. I just didn't get on with the army painter paints or the glue. The only thing I really liked from Army Painter was their washers. And the brushes aren't bad either. Brushes and washers. What is Ralph saying? 32 Celsius in the shade, and the beach is 50 metres from the apartment and 50 metres from the next pub. Life can't be much better. Where are you, Ralph? Anyway, I must have missed it in our chat, but... Are you back in Spain? And we are planning to come over to meet you as well, Ralph, again, but I've got an operation on Thursday, so they've said at least a week to 2 months before, to 2 weeks before I can even start doing exercise again. And yeah, I was supposed to be going airsoft next Sunday with my brother and his friends, but I've had to cancel that now, which is frustrating. So I've got that this Thursday, and then I've got that root canal again in 2 weeks from then. So basically we were planning to come over in August, well, the end of July, but because of all this stuff now, it's probably looking like September. So you'll have to let us know if it's still available for us to head over at some point. Simon, I need to make them a bit different as the kids at work challenge me to make a kill team for every faction over the summer holidays. So doing some fun silly stuff. That's pretty cool. So it's a big challenge as well, though, if it's just you doing them. Even, you know, I'm sure you've got other things that you want to be doing over the summer holidays, not just building every single kill team. Because I struggle to find the time to do them as well. Loads of ideas, just minimal time to do them all. Is that arm supposed to... I'm really struggling with this kit. Other stuff that's going on. So, the gym. Me and Phil have started going to the gym because I went about 4 years ago and I was doing bodybuilding and I got pretty big. I was about 18. I went from 15 stone, 14 stone up to 18 stone, and most of that was muscle. And then I stopped going for about a year and just got fat. So like all of the muscle turned into fat, and I really, you know, back then I was lifting, and I know there's a lot of people who lift huge amounts, so mine isn't that big, but I was quite happy with where we got to when I did it ages ago. So I think we were lifting just for like bench press, we were doing the bar plus 40, I think it's 40 kilogram weights either side, so 80 plus the bar, and I could lift that quite easily. And me and Phil went recently, and I can barely lift the bar with like 5 either side, so literally nothing. My strength is completely gone, and Phil's the same. We're both as bad as each other, so we're gonna slowly build it back up again to the point where I can lift stuff and tone up and be a bit healthier. So that is the plan for the gym, and we're going to be going, well, we've been doing 2 days a week, but we're going to go for 3, and then do a bit of swimming for cardio as well, which is quite good. It's nice just to meet up with Phil first thing in the morning before he goes to work, and just spend an hour and a half in the gym, and we can chat about wargaming stuff and also get healthy at the same time. Ralph, Côte d'Azur next to St. Tropez, Southern France. Come on over when you're up to it. The house is open. Perfect, Ralph. Thanks. I know Rachel's really keen to get over, and you know what I'm like with the food. Right, I'm going to come back to this glaive because I'm going to do my normal thing where I do a live stream for an hour and I get like 1 person built, which is looking like that's not even going to happen at the moment. So, gym's been happening. Another thing that's coming up fairly soon is ChillCon. So there's some this is in Derby this time. So the last ChillCons that we went to were Sheffield based. So this one's in Derby. There used to be another show called, I think it was Derby Worlds, and they're not on this year. So the only one in Derby to go to is ChillCon. You can buy the tickets now if you just go on, I think it's chillcon.co.uk, or just put in ChillCon on Google and it'll come up. And we're the official media partners, which means we get to go around with cameras and do interviews and take the pictures and the videos, and we can share it around all of our viewers as well. But on top of this, we're going to be having, actually I can't even talk about it yet. There's going to be a really cool thing going off between different YouTubers as well. So there's going to be a bunch of different YouTubers there, and we'll be doing something interesting there as well. So if you're interested in wargaming YouTubers, there's loads out there. We're going to have quite a lot of really cool guys coming down as well, which are going to be involved in one of the things at ChillCon, on top of everything else that's going to be there. So there's going to be all the retailers that are there from last year, plus new ones. It's a much nicer venue, from what I've been told as well. It's a nice modern, it's a school. So the last one was a school that was hired out. And this one's supposed to be quite a nice modern school as well. So the actual venue is nice to be in, and it's supposed to be a bit bigger as well. So looking forward to that. And also nice to meet up with everybody again. So all of our viewers that go, loads of people who are part of the ChillCon team. They're brilliant, a bunch of guys that really work hard to make it something special. So it's good to meet up with them as well and just catch up. And that is September. If you go on Facebook as well, you can actually show your support, or at least share the awareness, because there's still a load of people who don't necessarily know about it for some reason, even though we've been banging on about it and they've been banging on about it. But if you go on Facebook, you can change your frame. So if you type in on Facebook, you can go to your profile picture and then you can add a frame and you can search for different frames. And if you type in ChillCon, it will be one that's been made by Andy Hobday. And you can add that to your profile page and share it around to anybody who's potentially interested in that as well. Well, I'm going to sit down with my son this afternoon and build the Kill Team starter. Hope to be able to put the first game in tonight after the LADT splash in the sea at 10. Oh, late splash in the sea at 10, I imagine that is. I'm jealous. It's nice to be able to jump in the pool in the mornings when I've been at the gym, but it's even nicer when you're on the beach. There we go. Right, let's have a look at some legs. Let's see what we can do to make this a little bit more dynamic. Good if I get the legs the right way around. So what have we got? There we go. Don't like all these. I know I'm doing Harlequins. Everything that they are, everything that's about Harlequins, I'm basically just going, I don't like this. I don't like Harlequins. And I'm still doing them. But I don't like all the little frilly bits of stuff that's going off on them. I think Nurgle will be a really good one to actually do as well. Just purely for all the conversions that you can get on with. Be interesting to see what everyone's been choosing for their kill teams as well. So if you're watching this back afterwards, put it in the comments what kill team you're working on first. Because I know that so many people have done what me and Barak and everybody seems to do. And that is pick like 4 different kill teams and go with all of them. But what is everyone's first kill team and why? Why have you gone for that one? Emperor of Denmark saying, I have to finish my Agincourt English Longbowman by Saturday. Is that for a game, Mr. or Mrs. as Emperor of Denmark? Or Ms.? We're looking through our analytics and I think we've probably got something like 5 or 10% of our viewers, at max 10% of our viewers are female. And I know Rachel watches a lot of our stuff backwards as well, so at least a percentage of those views are from Rachel watching this back when she's at work. She's obsessed with the what they call the outtakes, the bloopers. Whenever we do anything, whenever we do any video, she's like, can you do a bloopers? Can you do outtakes? And it's like, no, Rachel, please stop. So all of the bloopers that we used to do were for her primarily. She's been doing some videos for work as well using the setup, and there's a bunch of stuff that didn't go so well in there, and she's like, can you do a blooper video for that? It's like, you're obsessed. You really are obsessed. MC Dragon Den, I went with Harlequins 2 just about to undercoat mine after magnetising all the arms. Magnetising's a good shout, to be fair, especially for kill team with so many choices. I should have thought about that, but I'll probably be chopping these up so much that I really can't be bothered to magnetise. But with it being kill team and there only being 5, it probably is a better idea because you can just switch the arms in and out depending on what you want to do. Ow. New blade. I knew I'd stab myself. And Emperor of Denmark is indeed a mister. Ow. I don't think I've drawn blood yet with this new blade, so that's always a good thing. There's a lot of mould lines on these Harlequins. A lot more than I expected from a newer kit. They've been really good, like Primaris Marines onwards have been pretty decent for getting rid of mould lines, or at least the mould lines are in places that you don't really need to worry about them. It was fiddly. Also, I bought extra legs and have 7 built. That's not bad. I think, especially if I was going to be doing magnetizing on these, I would stick to 5 because maybe 6. Actually, you know what? 7's probably right because these are 19 points each. That's with a fusion pistol and the Harlequin's kiss on every single one of them. It brings them up to 19 points per Harlequin. So I'm looking at having 5 of them. But if I was dropping some of the fusions and some of the kisses to lower weapons, you might be able to squeeze in an extra 1 or 2. Frost and Fists, not seen you in a long time. I hope you're doing well. I saw the last sit down with the 2 of you. I can't remember which one it was. You'd both been away for a while and I caught up on that. I don't think I commented. I put it on in the background and I was just listening away. It was quite interesting. And I saw that you both had pizza, so I was quite jealous. I think I actually went and got pizza after that video, so thanks. Thanks for helping me, thus. Emperor of Denmark doing Space Marines. They're going to have freehand skull markings on their helmets and then going to convert the bolters into all kinds of cool looking stuff. That's really good. When I did Scions, I did the same. There was one of the Scion teams which actually have skull masks on their head. I don't know if I ever put pictures up anywhere. I'm sure I've got some on my Facebook, on the internet somewhere. I sold them to Luke in the end, so I'll see if I can get pictures of them. But yeah, they were quite cool. I think I did 15 of them with the black armor with the edge highlighting on them all, and then I gave them all the skull helmets on top of that. Really awkward to paint, but they look great in the end. And because there was a small amount of them, it wasn't an issue. How is this leg supposed to go in? Captain... Oh wait, hold on. After a few list bashes, I have a 6-man 100-point team. That sounds about right. Ralph saying, looking at Thousand Suns kill team. That's a good one. Ooh, Gurgorg. Gurgorg. Is that Captain Gurgorg? Just followed. Don't know if that's a Twitter follow. What will it be? A Twitch? I don't know. Maybe YouTube, maybe Twitch. Captain Gurgorg, I'm converting a Beastman Imperial Guard kill team. It's another good one. The Beastmen are quite old kits, and obviously I did a full army of them for Age of Sigmar. And they're not the nicest in terms of trying to stick them together. There's a lot of mould lines on them. But in the end, they're actually quite nice. I've given 3 of the Bestigors that were half painted to my mate Toby as well, because he's doing them in Blood Bowl. And I think he says you could do them in the Nurgle team or something. Anyway, he had 3 of them off me. He wanted some without armour, and I was like, no, I haven't got any. I've got some Ungor Raiders, but they still need to be painted for the list. Whereas the Bestigors, I think I had about 10 spare in the end, because I'm not going to do all of them. MC Dragons. Dan, what's your backstory going to be? I'm going with Billy Bates and Sons Circus. I'm not sure. Just from the little bit... Oh, I have drew blood. It's like the tiniest little bit of blood. Look at that. It's not even qualified as a cut. I like the idea of the Black Library. I was reading that, and the fact that Chaos and everybody is still... They don't work, do they? His legs are far too... It's the chest. Maybe I need to cut off the waistband a bit. Yeah, that doesn't work. I like the Black Library. The fact that the Harlequins are basically defending it, and I think it is just one... Oh dear. One giant craft world. And Chaos and Necrons and everybody under the sun, the galaxies. Yeah, well, let's just sort this out properly. Is trying to get into the Black Library because there's tons of information in there. So like the Eldari knowledge, all of Eldari knowledge is inside this Black Library, and they're all trying to get in there to take the knowledge. Araman was like I think one of the only ones that's managed to get through and get some of the stuff out of it for himself. And I don't know what he stole, but there was a bit saying that Iron Man from the Thousand Sons managed to take some knowledge for himself, which is quite cool. I like the idea that everybody's after it, but like the Eldari have got all of this wealth of information that everybody's after so that they can dominate the galaxy, and then the Eldari aren't necessarily doing anything with it themselves. Like they can deal with everything or whatever if they use the knowledge that's contained in there. So it feels to me like if the Eldari themselves just went into the Black Library, which is theirs, and were just like, yeah, let's take this information and wipe out Chaos, or let's wipe out the Necrons. They're just not. So there's got to be a reason for it. There has to be a reason for why they're not using the knowledge that they have available to deal with all of the problems in the galaxy. Maybe Eldari are all evil after all. Maybe it's just the Harlequins, because I think the Dark Eldar are trying to get in there and get the information. Maybe normal Eldar aren't allowed it either. Maybe Craftworlds can't get it, and it's only the Harlequins that have access. And the Harlequins are actually evil, and they just don't want to save the galaxy. They want to watch it burn. Awesome, thank you. Helping with cravings. Yeah, you definitely did, Mephos. You definitely helped with cravings. Yeah, it's annoying that the legs don't work very well. I like the Black Library idea. I forget what mask that is, but there is one with a colour scheme in the Codex. Yeah, there's quite a few actually. I was impressed with how many masks they'd put in there. But it would be like a very elite Black Library defense mask. If I can get these scarves and the hoods to work, I can probably see myself keeping the masks on them. But if I can't get it to work very well, I'd probably get rid of them. I don't know. Alright, let's just use some plastic glue and weld this, because I think this is almost flat now because of all the chopping and changing I've done on it. I'm running out of plastic glue now as well. Probably a good idea to get plastic glue and super glue before you start chopping things up. Top tip. What else have we been up to? It's been so long since we've been doing updates. So non-gaming related, we've been watching. Me and Rachel have been watching Sword Art Online again. So we've watched season 1 and most of the second part. It's weird. They do their seasons in stages. So there was this Gun Gale Online or Gun something Online. It's like a futuristic version of. If anyone's watched Sword Art Online, it's basically like a fantasy VR MMO. And the first one, they go into this world and then they get basically trapped there, and it's all about them trying to get out of there and survive. But the second one is a completely different game that they go into, and it was actually quite nice. And we've just gone into the final bit, the final season, where they go back into this other VR MMO and do all these other missions and things. Okay, so it looks like there's missing a torso here. I say a torso, they're missing... Definitely missing something. Have you ever watched SAO Abridged? No. What's the difference? Like, why would I watch that? Is it better than watching all of it fully? I've never understood the abridged stuff, other than just skipping some of it. That's probably the only way I'd watch Dragon Ball Z though, because this is far too much. I'm really struggling to keep this under the camera and just chop things up. I think that might actually work though. What I've done there is missing the waist area. So I can green stuff all of that. I can maybe give him like a tassel. This bit that comes down from the back of the legs. I can flow that over to the waist again. Oh, it's funny, is it? Okay. Yeah, SAO was quite weird. Like, there's some moments where you're just like, Why is this in this series? I don't understand. Some really dark moments, but overall it was a great one. And it's made me want to play MMOs again. Like, I'm so close to playing World of Warcraft. And likewise, I think Final Fantasy is the closest one to SAO. Final Fantasy 14. And I've only got it on the PC because I haven't got a PlayStation 4. But I think I'd rather wait for it to come out on the Xbox, if it ever does. But I would definitely be all over that game if it was out on Xbox. There we go. Frost and Fist, I absolutely love Sword Art. My wife and I haven't gotten to Gungale yet, though. It's a shame. At first, I mean, even now, I think the first SAO was the best. Just because I prefer the world that they're in. But Gungale Online's got some great characters in there, and it's a completely different type of story, which is good. It's nice they've managed to make it original, but familiar at the same time. Is that how I want to go with them? They've got quite heavy upper bodies, these Shadow Warrior kits. A lot heavier than the Harlequins are. I don't know whether it's going to work. See, it's quite chunky. A bit more top heavy. I don't know. Maybe I'll do one like that and green stuff it and see how it looks. See if I can give them the glaive, if I can work that out. And then the rest of them can just have really dynamic looking models. The other option I wanted to do was have them almost curving over and flipping with the capes that come around the outside of it. The mask that protects the webway and the Black Library are called the Dance Without End, magenta and black, green and blue motley. It's very bright. Black, green and blue. I think I'm going to be doing my standard colour schemes, which is basically dark, grim and nasty colour scheme. Okay, what else have we got? We've got Shadow Warrior heads somewhere here. So today, before I did all of this as well, I worked on all of the bases for the Kharadron Overlords again. So the next stage for those was putting all of the foliage, so like static grass, bits of flock, and some of the tiny little leaves on there and stuff. So I've done all of that. I'm waiting for the PVA to dry, and then I'm going to go and varnish it to try and seal it a little bit because they're all kind of not stuck down too well. And then I'm going to put a load of washers on them and the water effects or the swamp effect. And then once that's done, the bases are finished, and I can then just finish the models for the Kharadrons, stick them straight to the bases, and then put them in a case so that they're finished. At the moment, whenever I finish them, they're just being left on cork, and it's not as satisfying as finishing a model and sticking it to a ready painted base and moving on to the next model. See, this was the other option for the heads, but I think they're far too big, aren't they? That's a massive shame. Harlequins have got tiny little bodies and tiny little legs. And Shadow Warriors, even though they're like high elves, the helmet and the torso are still too big. How do Harlequin heads normally, the masks stick on? Is it? Okay. Could maybe make this work by chopping it all up. Actually quite nice masks. I like the dark ones. If I had all of them with these skull helmets, that would work. Yeah. What other anime have we watched? Hunter Hunter or Hunter X Hunter, however you want to. That's one of my favourites. Absolutely love the characters in that. Killua is one of the best characters in a TV series that I've seen. Now, I don't like this like top part on there, so I'm going to remove that for definite, and then I'll try and give them a hood. So get rid of that. Get rid of that. This doesn't need to be perfect either, because it'll either be blank or it'll just have a hood over it. Tiny little fiddly things. Get some blue tack, yeah. Blue tack would help right now. But I like to stick stuff together, and then when it doesn't work, rip it to pieces. Oh my god. This mask is fiddly. If you get magnetised, and I can't even pick the thing up. I need orcs. That's what I can build. Big stuff. These are too dainty. Right, let's stick this mask on the front of here. It's quite dark. I definitely prefer it without the big flamey stuff on the back of them. But even then, this body still seems too thick. So what I might do is end up chopping it all up. What do you of Adeptus Titanicus? What do I think of it? Maybe looks good. I mean, we have been sent one by Games Workshop. We've got stuff to do on it. We can't reveal any of it yet. We can just say we've got it. So that's as much as I can say. I've not even looked inside it yet. I was supposed to have it over the weekend. Phil was going to drop it off, but he's been busy, so I never got it. And I think we're filming something on Wednesday, tomorrow. So I'll probably get an hour's worth of reading through the book again, or half an hour, and then do a video on it. So we'll film that, and I think that's probably going to be released this Friday, maybe Friday or Saturday. But in terms of the models, really like them. It's just another game system for me. Kill Team's great because it gets you back into 40k and it makes you work on small teams, and it's the same rules of 40k with a few extra expanded bits. A few extra expanded bits. But the problem with Adeptus Mechanicus is it's a completely different game, or Adeptus Titanicus, sorry. It's a completely different system, different models. I don't know. It feels like it is a side game for me. I think I'd try it, but it's not something I can see myself investing a huge amount of time in. It's something that I would do if I had all my other projects done and I was happy with the armies and I was just casually playing games. Then I would go and pick it up and give it a go. But as it is, I've got far too many projects to start something completely new that I won't use for anything other than that, if you get what I mean. Like the Kill Team, I see it as multi-purpose. One, I can play Kill Team. We can do videos for the channel, and we could do like an hour-long bat rep and just have a good session playing that. But then it also kind of works out what army I want to do for 40k at the same time, and it keeps me refreshed with the rules. So Kill Team's got multiple uses. For Adeptus Titanicus, I can just see I'll play it a little bit and that's it. So, Frost and Fist, the missus and I just caught up on Voltron and RWBY Season 5. I've never watched either of those, but I might have to if they're good. I've never seen them. I've seen the game for RWBY, whatever that is, but I've not played it or seen anything on it. Captain Gurgle, do you have some finished human KO that you can show? Let me grab some. Hey there, stupid. Okay. Ooh, squeaky floor. Frost and Fists, both. Okay, and Green Stuff Games is here. Welcome, Green Stuff Games. Not seen you in a while. Right. Finished ones. Not really. I've got two, maybe. Let's see if we can zoom in. This is the one that I've shown a few times now. So this is with the purple cloth, and I liked it at first. Now I might be going back to the red again. I'm happy with the armour colour. It's basically brasses with a bunch of nylock oxide. Really easy to paint. The stuff that takes time is painting all of the highlights on the jackets and the cloth. The metals are all easy, but you can see I've gone around all of the leather here and edge highlighted. The boots, the gloves, and there's pretty much no washing involved. Normally when I'm doing a quick paint job, I base coat it, I wash it, and then I highlight it with like an edge highlight, and that's it. With a lot of this, I've skipped the wash stage, so I've had to make sure that the previous base colour has been darker so that I don't need the wash, because they're quite dark already. Now, that was the old colour scheme, and I prefer the brass, so I've switched it from this silver over to the brass now instead. Maybe the shirt colour I'll change, I don't know. So that's that one, and then now I'm just starting to do the rest of the 10-man squad. So the brown's done. Although it does look slightly different actually. How have I managed that? Doesn't seem to have gone as high on the highlight. I don't know how I've managed to make that look different. It's the same colours. Maybe I need to go back in darker with some more Rhinox hide in the shades on this one on the right. And it needs a bit of a brighter highlight as well. So this is with the red. I've not done any highlighting on it either, but the red stands out quite a bit more than the purple. The purple looks a little bit more regal. So that's that one done. And the first 10-man squad are all in different stages. So like most of them have got the shirts done and the jackets, and then the base coats for the red and the black. But I've still got to do all the metallics and all of the skin. The faces I'll do last. Faces and bases. And like some of these haven't even had the majority done. They've just had the shirts and the jackets done. So you can see like this one needs all of the black adding, and then I need to do all of the edge highlighting on all of the... Oh my god, I've got loads to do. I've got too much to do. It never ends. Purple looks nice. Thank you, Green Stuff Games, as well. And we've got Asjara. Asjara, if you're not already subscribed to Asjara, you need to subscribe to this guy. He's got like, in my opinion, the best conversions on the internet. It's my favourite channel to go to. Before I even started doing YouTube, the one channel I used to watch all the time for the iconic big conversions was Asjara. He's done some amazing stuff, like focusing mainly on the big characters in the past. So you've got like Ragnar and some of the Blood Angel characters. I think he even did a Bloodthirster at one point, but just really cool dynamic characters that have got flowing capes, and that's literally why I'm doing things like the Harlequins. I want to add some dynamics to them. But he's started doing a converted army, which is mixing the Nighthaunt with Stormcast and Wood Elves at Sylvaneth. So it's mixing all of those three into a really dark and creepy haunted forest type army, which looks really good. It kind of reminds me of the wood people, or the mystical magic people from Game of Thrones, the elves or whatever they are that are running through the tree trunks. It reminds me of those. And I forgot the name for them. Carcass something. Anyway, subscribe to Asjara, brilliant channel, loads of cool conversions, and really is an inspiration to everything that I've done. This is my favourite one that I've chopped up so far. And I don't know if he's going to be an admiral. Not an admiral. What was he going to be? He was going to be the guy who fixes stuff at first. But I think he might just be an admiral. Because he's got a giant hammer. With this has all been built from bits. So it's like tubes with a bit of green stuff and an anvil, which I've kind of half tried to fix. And then like one of the Skitarii helmets attached to the side of the backpack. This servo arm was all in different pieces. So that's all like holding together to hold this big hammer thing. And then I had to chop up this fist from the Orlok set to make it hold the hammer as well. And this is from Grey Knights, I think, as well. Green Stuff Games just subbed to Asjara. Looks amazing. Yeah, it's really amazing. Dragon's Den, you could do a combination of both red and purple on different models to denote rank. Yeah. I think that's adding more work. When I did it with the Beastmen, it was far too much work just doing the 5 or 6 different skin tones that I ended up doing. It wasn't worth it in the end, but I wanted to do something different. Got some of these characters. Dragon's Den, wish I had the money for conversions. Sub though. Conversions, you can do them on the cheap a lot of the time. Like you can trade bits with people at clubs. You can buy bit collections and stuff on eBay. There's loads of job lots. I've bought so many in the past where you pay like £5 and you get a bunch of bits and you just chop them all up. You can also get fully painted models that have been painted really badly and then strip them down and then use the bits for them to do your conversions. There's loads of ways to get them, and like a lot of this like green stuff for the jackets. You can get green stuff cheap on the internet as well. These are just bits I've had from over the years from different kits. So it's just an Empire dude's head. That's off the actual sprue with the militia's chest piece as well. That's just one of the pilots for one of the boats. What else have we got that's converted? Oh, all of these. I have converted quite a lot in this army, actually. It'll be nice when they actually get done. So the Escher, they've all been converted. They've all had dwarf weapons added to the Escher ones. So they're my Thunderers. Oversized, big steampunk weapons. Really like the Escher. I think they're all converted except for 2 of them. Who else do we have? Oh, Captain Hook. Oh, I think I broke something. There we go. Another captain for... This is for the Ironclad. So the big one. I've given him a Dark Eldar hook. It goes on there. He's probably my favourite admiral. And then I'm working on a female. Where has she gone? She has disappeared. Maybe I've put her somewhere else because I'm still converting her. She's got like a pirate hat that I've sculpted. I think I did. I filmed that, I think. Oh, here she is. With dog hairs. She sat around for a bit. So this was changing a lot of ideas. I ended up going for this head. I think that moves. Yeah, so the head still moves at the moment. Another one from Asjara. I learned always to pin your stuff, and you can pose them in different ways. So you can pin your arms, you can pin your legs, you can pin your heads. And when you get used to pinning, it makes converting a lot easier. So you can try different poses out, and just from changing the head, it looks like a completely different model. So that's where you would take a photograph of the model from that angle at that head, and you could still do it that way. But she's looking in a completely different direction, and that changes the model. But you could also have her stood that way. Doesn't look as nice though. I think this is the way I'm going to go. And that's a sculpted hat. I've not really necessarily done much with that before. It's the first time I've tried sculpting a hat, so it's not great. And then these are dark. They're the racks, I think. The Dark Eldar rack arms. Still got a lot of green stuff work to be done. It's the Sisters of Battle limited edition model as well, which I chopped up. And then I added this cape or this coat from the Escher gang, and just removed some of the bits that were on there, and green stuffed jacket points again on there. That holster, Simon saying Escher holsters for your Harlequin. I'll have a look, but this holster was actually from a Space Marine kit. And I measured it, and that pistol fits perfectly with that, with the barrel sticking out the end. So that's why I gave her a Space Marine one, because it kind of fits. So she's going to be the Admiral, probably the Admiral for the whole army of those. Let's chuck her in there before she gets covered in any more dust. MC Dragon, yeah, done all that in the past, just money is really tight these days. Yeah, I completely agree. I've literally had to do a bunch of work recently just to pay some of the bills, because with the channel, we've been doing this for 2 years now, and it's, you know, it's not something that pays. So I've had to rely on Rachel to bring in all of the money. I am setting up some other stuff in the background as well, which I've done for the last few months. Well, it's only a month really, so I'll put some money out there to try and get some bits done. But I'll be announcing that later on when I've got some videos finished for it. But I understand with the on money completely. It's not easy. This hobby, even though it's not stupidly expensive, it's not the cheapest. Like most hobbies aren't cheap. And it's not easy sometimes dividing the money, so do what you can. As Jara, so much love, Sam. Thanks for the shout out. It's your amazing conversions that keep me going with my own stuff and bidding the chaff. So inspiring. Honestly, as Jara, I said to Rachel, I keep saying to Rachel, like, whenever you bring out a picture of something or a video of something, I've gone through all of the backlog and shown her the stuff from your channel. And I'm like, this is why I do the conversions that I do. So completely inspirational stuff. And if anybody wants to get into conversions, that is the channel to check out. Simon Key. Oh yeah, Escher. Wish it would cool down so I can spray my Harlequin kill team outside. Anyone want to donate me an airbrush kit? It's not just the airbrush kit. There's the stuff you need for it as well, like cleaning it. I've stuck to just brushing models now because it saves space and saves money. Green Stuff Games has got to go. See you later, Green Stuff Games. So that's looking at... I don't think there's any other cool stuff. Every model has been converted to a point though, so... Like this one, I was running out of the left arms to hold the guns. These are the heavy stubbers, which I'm going to be using in the Arcanaut team. So I just gave him a pistol and had it converted it, so he's just kind of holding it down. So he's like an absolute machine. He's just like dragging that weapon around with him, unrealistically. But it's like Age of Sigmar. So all of the steampunk weapons that the Kharadron Overlords have been lightened because of the suits that they wear. And I know these haven't necessarily got those suits, but I like to think that they've made it out of the same sort of metals. So although it looks really heavy and unrealistic, it's fine. And then I gave him a gunner's head and just chopped off the Aquila wings on the helmet. I like him. He's one of the nicer gunners. Then we've got some like this, which have got old... what is it called? Black powder weaponry. And some militia heads as well. I really like those. Quite a nice looking model. We have... oh, the big ball dudes. I've not shown these since they've been primed, actually. So these are all a little bit awkward. I tried to make them a bit more dynamic, so I've drilled a pin into the bottom of these. And... you can see he's like floating forwards. Kind of works more than I expected, putting the backpack onto these Orlok models, green stuffing some of the stuff in between. That works for me. It works. Commission work. Make terrain. Check out Luke's APS as he has developed his channel and now has a hobby range for sale. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever do commission work. The only thing I'll ever do commission-wise is building models for people, but it's very difficult to do it in mass and to get the money back that you spend on it, because the bits aren't cheap, as you say, and you've got to make something that the person likes at the end of it. And a lot of the time, conversions are just down to your own personal preference. You chop things up, you make it work for you, and that's it. So doing a commission for something is difficult. As Jara, I know he's done commissions in the past for building models, and I think that's the only way you could do it. But I just don't know how. One, I don't think I'd like to give away the models once I've done them, because you spend a lot of time on them. Two, it's difficult to get it exactly how the client would want. And the main thing, I think I'd probably lose motivation to do my own hobby, and that's the reason we still do it. That's the reason we do the channel, is we are hobbyists doing our hobby and sharing it with people. And some people won't like it, and other people will. But the main thing is that we enjoy what we're doing. So that's what we do on the channel. We don't do games that we don't enjoy playing. We don't talk about stuff that we don't enjoy. We try and stay away from negative subjects, because there's no point just talking about it a lot of the time. Like, I don't see the need. There's a lot of channels out there, and this isn't to slate them in any way, but there's a lot of channels out there that just thrive off drama a lot of the time, and I don't understand why. I know people love drama, that's the main reason why they do it, and they get the views and stuff, but I watch videos to be either entertained or to be inspired by something, and just to get the motivation to get on with the hobby. I don't personally watch stuff for the drama of things, so I think that's why we don't bother with any of that on the channel, because we personally don't watch it, and we don't even want to make that sort of stuff. Like, there's a huge debate at the moment between female space marines, and it's just like, you watch one of the threads blow up and it's like, somebody's posted that just for the knowing the fallout that's going to be coming from it, and the drama that's going to come out of it, because people are just so back and forth, like left and right. It's just charging at each other on the internet for no reason other than to be abusive to each other, and you just don't need those sort of subjects. And a lot of the stuff, like the female space marine argument, if you want to do, I don't even want to delve into it much, but it's like, if you want to do female space marines, do them. If it doesn't match the law, who cares? It's your hobby, do what you want. And on the law basis, the amount of people that get really upset over it, Games Workshop make the law, they can change the law, they can do whatever they want, and you know, they've done retcons in the past, they've changed the law dramatically and people don't like it. It's their law, it's their background, they can do whatever the hell they want to do with it. And at the end of the day, if you don't like it, you don't play it, or you don't follow that faction or whatever. It does my head in watching it. Anyway, Else Nation, howdy all, howdy Else Nation. I just finished watching your live stream with Spud from last night. It was good, and I'm sorry I couldn't make it, to be fair. I know he was saying anybody can join. I joined the chat at the beginning, and then a bunch of the guys invited me to go and play Arena of Valor on the mobile, so I was like, yep, I'm going to go and play that. And then I watched back the stream later on this morning. Asjara, are you going to add some Cawdor miniatures to your KO? I'd love to, and I think Necromunda models are the best kits that Games Workshop do at the moment. And I can say that quite categorically. There's so much detail on them. I just think that they're the most dynamic models. They've got loads of detail, and they match the style perfectly. I was thinking of doing Nightlord. I know Else Nation's his ears are gonna start flaring now. Nightlords, I was thinking Cawdor are brilliant cultists for Nightlords. Absolutely brilliant. Sticking a load of vampire counts, wings and iconography on them, and it would work absolutely perfectly. So I'm thinking maybe later on I'll be doing that. Yeah, who needs that drama, eh? A lot of people love drama. A lot of people thrive off it. And, you know, maybe it's something interesting rather than just seeing the same sort of posts about models and talking about army lists and things. Somebody coming up with some bit of drama to spice up their morning. I don't know, maybe people do thrive on it, and I don't know, leave them to it, I guess. Frost and Fist, I appreciate your anti-drama speech. I didn't really want to make a speech about it. I just get fed up with seeing the speeches. So I'm complaining about the speeches. It's kind of ironic. Anyway, Ajara, and you got your pentakill. I saw that, very cool. Yeah, the first time. So I played League of Legends for like, what, 3 years straight. I played Smite for at least a year, and we've just started this Arena of Valor. And in all of those years of playing MOBAs, I never got a pentakill. Like I've got so many quadra kills. And I've played extremely well a lot of the time and never got a pentakill. And you'd see people just run in and easily get one every game. And it's like, how have I never got one? So I was quite happy the first time I got one yesterday, to the point where I recorded it. And that game, it records stuff automatically for you. It's brilliant. So you can just take your video that's been recorded at the end and post it anywhere. It's really good. No worries, dude. I'm sure there will be many more. Emperor of Denmark, did you ever finish the bolt action stuff? I finished the tanks. All of the infantry are in... they've all been primed. They wouldn't take much to be done. This other project that I'm going to be doing is going to be including things like bolt action and other army. So there's going to be... I've got another channel which I've not even talked about, to be fair. You can, anybody who's watching this who's interested in whatever I do, you can probably search it up now and just subscribe or whatever if you're interested in stuff in the future. So it's literally Sam Stocks, all one word, and that's my other channel that I'm going to be doing, but I'm trying to do it so it's non-WGO stuff. So although I'll be doing tutorials and things on there as well, it's going to be focusing primarily on bits that I wouldn't necessarily put on this channel. So the conversion videos, project logs, so just literally rambling quite a bit as I do, and doing things like this, like the live streams I might end up doing on there instead as well, because we are aware that we fill this channel quite a bit with me and Phil doing stuff, but we want to try and keep it more group orientated. So the stuff that's on Wargamer Online will be the battle reports, the live shows with the groups, and the individual stuff I can do on my own channel afterwards. So that channel is going to have the conversions, bolt action, and I was saying to Dave, because he's taken all the Americans and he's done nothing with them, and he's like, just tell me when you want me to do something and we'll do it. And I was like, okay, let me get the Kharadron Overlords out of the way, let me do some kill team, and then get on track with doing the videos for both channels, and then we'll look at doing stuff like bolt action, and we can either film stuff regularly or we just do it once a month. We just play a small game and we just film it and we see how it goes, because I've got to enjoy doing it, otherwise I'm not going to bother. You know what I mean? There's no point forcing myself to do bolt action for the sake of doing it. I still have to enjoy the game, and from what I've seen, the system looks really good and the rules look really good. So we'll probably have that, and also things like the card games. So Warhammer Champions, well, if we're not going to be doing it too much on this channel, I'll do it on there. Light Seekers, may even put some gaming up on there, maybe some Arena of Valor or whatever other games. But that channel is kind of a bit of everything rather than focusing with what we do on here. Nightlords, says Ulster Nation, getting Sam doing Nightlords again. Not yet, but it's definitely up there as a potential, because Nightlords are amazing. The Corridor Gang is an amazing kit, and if I can make an army list work, at least 1,000 points with a bunch of militia, so either run them as Imperial Guard and just say they're Chaos, or run them as Chaos Cultists and just do a Chaos army, I might do it. Coyote, rather dramatic anti-drama speech. Yeah, sorry about that. It's just frustrating. We won't talk about it. I've not really got anywhere with this. So, where's the head gone? The head kind of works. The chest I'm not too keen on. Maybe I've just got to stick some arms and some capes and things like that on there and it will work. Who knows? Computer crashed. What was the channel for that other stuff? Sam Stocks. So my name, just all in one word. I don't know if I can even link it. Let's have a look. Actually, I tell you what, I could probably switch account on here. There we go. So I think you should be able to just click on the little dots and then click on the channel, and it's as simple as that. It's a channel I made ages ago, but I haven't done anything with it. So it had some project logs I did ages ago, and they were literally the most cringy. I was like sitting in my dressing gown with, I know the audio and the video isn't that great now, but what I look back at and go, oh, why did I even do that? Why is that even on the internet? So that's what the channel was for. And for some reason people subscribed back then. So I figured I'll do some more with that. I have done a tutorial on there. Sam, can you give us a wave? Shooting a vid at the moment. No, not in this vest with this hair. Hey, there we go. So I did this tutorial. So Patrick Metzger supported Wargame Online and Rachel and me and Phil for a long time now. Brilliant subscriber and friend. We've been... There's another dog hair. He's been to the doubles tournament with me, and we're going to the next one together. So I don't know whether he's bringing his High Elves, which I think he is, or the Seraphon, or something else entirely, maybe the Sylvaneth. So we've done a lot of stuff together, and we've got a lot of other stuff planned. And I've set up a Patreon account on the Sam Stocks thing, and I've not talked about it because there's nothing on there. I've literally not done any videos for the channel. I've not done anything for Patreon, and Patrick just went ahead and started setting up this monthly payment anyway. And as one of the requests, he said, can I do a video on these whatever they're called, swords, Quicksilver swords, I think they're called, from the Malign Sorcery box set that came out. But he wanted like a flame effect, and I was like, Patrick, really? Like, these are ethereal looking fog things, not necessarily flames. So it was quite difficult to paint a flame effect on something that is not flame. And I did it anyway. I filmed it. I've just finished doing all of the paint splatters and the logos and all of that stuff for the video. I just need to do a voiceover, and then that's going up on Patreon. But this was something I worked on. It was very difficult to do, I have to say that. What did I watch while I was playing it? I don't know if a lot of you do this as well, but I watch rubbish, either on films, TV series, or just YouTube. And whenever I'm painting something, I can link what I was watching to that thing. So I watched Ghost in the Shell when I painted this. So I just think of Ghost in the Shell. It was an okay movie, but that's what this reminds me of now. But these flames were quite difficult to do, like I say. The rest of it's really basic. It's like Balthazar Gold, Doomball Brown, and Silver. Like, there's not much to it. The main part of doing this tutorial was painting a flame effect on something that isn't flame, and also doing a little bit of glow. I don't know if it's picking up very well on there, but adding glazes, like very thin blue glazes to the undersides of these blades, so when the flame's going up and around it, you can see that it's added a bit of lighting effect to it. It was okay. I mean, it's the first time I've done it, and it probably could be done a lot better, but cool little model. And then I've got other stuff to do, to work on. I know Asdiar is going to lose his cool over this, because this is basically conversion bits for him. But that really cool headsman, one of my favourite models from the Nighthaunts. He's a little bit wobbly, just because everything's dangling on like an axe handle. Wibble wobble, wibble wobble. And the other one I've got to do is this guy, who is huge. I still can't get over how big this guy is. So for those of you who have Harlequins, there's a Harlequin. There's a Harlequin next to him. And he has easily the coolest looking sword in Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40k. If I could buy this sword 100 times, every single model would be equipped with it. It's ornate. It's like a vampire sword, one of the old really nice ones. It's got a great hilt on it as well. Such a good weapon. And even the sheath for it. Look at that. It's got like an hourglass in the top of it, with a tiny little skull detail, and then this ornate border around here, and a dog hair just to finish it off. Brilliant model. And when you first look at this, there's so much going off you don't realise, but yeah, the spirit dude doesn't have legs. He's basically a cape, some arms, and then a helmet. Oh, the helmet. Easily one of the best helmets as well. If I could get 100 of these, that's how I would do Night Lords. I would give all of my Space Marines, all of the Chaos Space Marines, this helmet, and either fit it to the front of a Space Marine helmet, or just have that as it is. For Night Lords, that is. It probably wouldn't work for anything else, but that looks amazing. Fall in love with that model. I'm going to paint him up as well, but that will probably be for a tutorial for Wargame Online. That will be on Premium first. I've got so much to do. So many cool models from Games Workshop, you just literally can't keep up at the moment. Got to start somewhere, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting anything on that other channel, on Sam Stocks, because, like I say, there's not a single video on there. Yeah, there's no video on there. There's no nothing at the moment. New subscriber. I'm getting pop-ups all over the place. But it's another side project as well, because a lot of the time, because I've been doing this for 2 years on Wargammer Online, so 2 years behind the scenes, you know, we had to do a lot of building up of videos in the past. And you've got to try and balance it. You've got to still enjoy doing it. But because it's technically work, you've also got to make sure you're keeping on top of it and you stay motivated, but it not dragging you down. And because you do so many things for the channel, you kind of lose track of the hobby side of it again. And that's partly, well, the main reason why we did it. We wanted to do something that was hobby related. So I think doing things like this on the other channel will motivate me to do more with Wargammer Online as well. So you do these really cool little conversion projects where you just cut bits up and stick them together and then see how they come out. Maybe that'll work if I chop that up to go in there. I really haven't built much. I've been too busy talking as usual. What time is it? 2:30. An hour and a half I think we've been streaming. Another thing I did as well, actually, talking about Warhammer Champions a bit ago, I built a deck. Not tried it yet because Rachel needs to build her order one, but I built one with a death deck, and it looks really good. The different ways that you can build them. I've done mine, so it's got as many vampire creatures as I can get. I think I've got 8 in total, and then I've got the vampire female, the male vampire, and 2 of the really rubbish champions. Comes to like 19 points out of the 20 that you're allowed. But the way that it works is I'm going to be aiming to remove as many cards on the opposite side as possible. Whenever I remove a unit, I think I can gain life back on stuff. I can take a vampire from my discard pile and put it back into my hand as well, which is why I wanted as many vampire cards units as possible. But yeah, the way that I've made it work and synergize together potentially will work. When Rachel's finished building her order deck, we'll have a few games and play the game a little bit, get used to it, and then we can try out some different stuff. And then as soon as we've got the digital version, when PlayFusion bring out the digital version of the game, we can just hook up both iPhones to a OBS stream setup, and we can just stream the live stream gaming and not need all the cards everywhere and all the cameras that we use for that. It'd be so much easier. Dragon, I never look at my list of hobby projects as so much to do, rather a variety of interesting hobby journeys ahead, but I agree on staying on top of it. Do you use a wet palette? I do. I did a video on making a wet palette. Where's it gone? Oh, it's behind there. It's just an old Games Workshop. So this is a basing kit, and I just put a bit of foam in the bottom, the palette paper, and that's it. I mean, the foam's really thin. You can see the thickness of it. It's like 7 or 8 mil with a bit of paper on top, parchment paper, or the label, the back of labels that you can get. That paper works perfectly. And when you put it in here, I put some paint palettes or paint pots inside just to weigh it down so it doesn't curl up initially. And then once it's done, it's flat like that. That's really wet. It's been in there for a while now. And then I use the top of my palette for doing basing. So this has had PVA glue on it. I just pour PVA glue on there, and this palette works for everything. It's great for PVA glue, and then on the inside for all the paint. Speaking of champions, must get those cards back to you after this if you are free. Yeah, I need to get the list of all of them. There was loads of them, to be fair. So I need to have a look. I'll go through them and make a list of all of them, but that will be good because it means when the digital version's available, we can actually just play digitally rather than having to. At the minute, we were looking at the battle report setup we've got with all of the cameras that we use, and it would work, but it's just more effort than literally just playing it on your phone. I love using it, never looking back. Yeah, the wet palette's best thing. Right, what do I do? Let's see. Some of these weapons that the Harlequins have got are brilliant. I love any weapon where it's like a reverse hilt, where they hold it backwards. So this one here. that sort of blade I really like. I'm just going to cut some of these off and see how they look with the chest and the leg setup that I've got. What's that? A fusion pistol. I think I will need holsters because the normal arms and stuff are so much better on than having... Oh my god, the mould lines on these are just killer. I'll clean them up afterwards. Have you seen the digital app? It looks sweet. Yeah, I mean, I've downloaded... See if we can get it. Yeah, so the scanning of the cards is really fast and easy. The card collections is great. When they bring it all out completely, it'll be good. So death, missing. Still got a lot of these. Like this one, this vampire. That's one of the vampires I've got in there. Just does damage every turn to your opponent. Some of the blessings are good as well. There's another deck I was looking at building which is Mordants. So it's all based around getting these out and increasing the damage and healing that Mordants do to each other. Spirits as well. The other way I think I was looking at playing Death is having the Necromancer out and stacking as many Risen units as possible and then casting spells. So the more Risen units that you stack, like these, they've got the stacking rule, then the more damage you reduce when you're actually playing against people. I mean, actual gameplay footage, there's a short vid on subreddit. No, I'm kind of just waiting. I've not looked at any of it until it comes out. Should probably have a look. But there's some great cards in here. I like how fast it is. Some of the spells are brilliant. Got my zombie dragon. I thought I had more than one zombie dragon, but maybe I've only got one. Rachel had all of the order cards, but she was missing a lot. And I think all of her champions are gone, so she can't play when it comes out at all, because you need 4 champions to even play. Chaos, I think all the best ones went for that as well. Which one was the one that we were going to use? It was some form of wizard. I don't know, there was a wizard. It might have been Scar. Yeah, Blood Wrath he went. Be good to get Valkyria. She's a cool card. But yeah, good stuff. Looking forward to when it actually comes out and it's released. And we can just start playing games. I said I was going to clean these afterwards, and I literally can't help but just clean them up. A lot of time, I've wasted so much time saying that. Cleaning bits that I've never used. I just chuck them straight back into the bits box, and yeah, they never get seen. Can't wait for it hoping to shift some old magic cards to get to the deck. Yeah, we've got a few magic cards. We only played Commander though, so the games are quite variable. That's quite cool. Be like running with a blade behind him. Cut that off at an angle. So I don't like arms like that, where it's just like a... Yeah, don't like it. What have we got here? It's a Glade Guard hand. I don't know why I'm tired. I went to bed early last night. Apparently I was sleepwalking, not last night, the night before. And what I tend to do is I get up, I turn on all the lights around the house, and then I like chuck Rachel out bed, and then yeah, she gets annoyed and she's like, get back to bed, idiot. But apparently when I sleepwalk, I'm like completely wide-eyed, just like a zombie, just completely open-eyed while I'm asleep. And like if that was Rachel, like if literally Rachel like rose out of bed, eyes wide open, and just stared at me while she was asleep, I'd have probably gone out the front door and locked it behind me and like slept in the garden or something. But Rachel, she's got steel resolve. She's just like, get back to bed. It's like, and me and my sleepwalkingness just goes, yes, no problem. Yeah, so I think to put these wood elf capes on, I'm going to have to chop up the entire back, get rid of some of these coats. I wonder if the Harlequin models, I don't know if all of them have got these capes. No, they don't. There we go. So any of them that don't have a trench coat type thing, I'll just use a wood elf cape instead. That works perfectly. Let's get some of these chopped off. The other thing I don't like about these new sprues is how all the bits go together in specific ways. So you can, like, I used to just chop off all the bodies, all the legs, all the arms, clean all of them up, and then stick them together. Whereas now it's like the front of this one needs to go with the back of this one, and this arm goes with this arm, and I'm like, slows down the building process massively. And when you're chopping things up, you have to be aware of what goes with what. Right, it would have been so much quicker just to do this. Did daughters make it into the Champions game? Not yet. I've not seen any. I know Idoneth Deepkin have, because they're all part of Order. But I've not seen any sisters yet, or daughters. Sorry. Jack's starting them as well for his next army. So you will see some Daughters of Cain on the channel, and it doesn't seem like there's too many channels out there that even do Daughters of Cain yet, which he was worried about. But what he's done is he's designed a really filthy list to combat shooting armies. Now, this is the first time I've done an army which is based around shooting, and which is the Kharadron Overlords. And he's decided that his daughters are going to specialise at killing anything that shoots. So you basically can't die to them, which I thought was really great now that I've just done an army based on it. I might switch it and just turn up with like a magic army just to see his face change when he tells me he hasn't tailored his list. Okay, so if I'm going to put the capes on, I'm going to have to get rid of these back parts. How? I imagine that's how their suits work. So just simply chopping it off might not work. Maybe chopping underneath it though. If I chop it underneath there, maybe just chop it off and say it's underneath here. Just do that. This is the other thing that I do a lot of times, is just chop things up. And in the past I've always been worried. I've always been like, oh, so much money. But you get so many bits from stuff that you try it on one or two, see what works. Ow. Stab yourself a few times. And then when you know what works, you've got a really unique looking model. And if that's what you're after, for me it is, then it's well worth wasting a few parts every now and again. Dragons, sadly not many factions yet. No, they've just split up into the main Grand Alliances or whatever they are. Okay, that works. But like you've got Idoneth and stuff inside there. It's got to get rid of this quiver, so... You know what? I say I've got to get rid of it. And that quiver could work for a blade. Oh, you legend, Sam. You legend. So this is now not a quiver, it's a sheath. So I'm just going to carve it out so it's almost like a hollow. Being gentle though, because one slip and then I'll lose my finger again. The back of that can chop down a little bit. There we go. So then we just need a blade that's thick enough and short enough for that to work. So obviously the Harlequin blade that it comes with is far too big, but maybe like a little dagger. What have we got dagger wise? See, all the Harlequin blades are far too big. That's like a giant curved thing, which won't work. However, there's got to be a small blade in here somewhere. And they stick out a little bit, don't they? Haha, daggers. I'm really looking forward to seeing Jack's daughter's arm. Yeah, I mean, he nails them as well. Like, I spend months doing my armies. Deliberating on colour schemes and how I'm going to make them converted and blah, blah, blah. Jack just buys 2,500 points, makes a list, paints it in a few weeks, and then beats everybody. It's like, I don't understand what that guy does. Gifted by the gods. I'm just playing at the minute, Mythos. I'm just trying to see what works, so I don't know if that's showing up, but you can see the blade's obviously a bit too long for that sheath. I'm thinking if it was in there, it would stick out a bit more. So it's not ideal, but that's still better than the Harlequin one. Arm-wise, because these Harlequins have got quite scrawny little arms and shoulders, that won't fit. So I'm going to have to chop off this part of the shoulder cloth to make it actually fit there. There's going to be a lot of work done to these, but there's only 5 of them, so I can get away with it. She's going to be a badass female. I think it needs to go a bit more at an angle. Here's Phil's son. Yeah, that's true. And Phil just gets something, chops it up and paints it in a night. I think he's doing an airbrush tutorial on something soon as well. We were saying yesterday anyway. And I'm supposed to be going around, so I'm going to go around tomorrow and film something with him. I don't know if I'm doing a battle report. I might just be doing all of the buttons on the computer. So him and Jack might play a game of Kill Team or something. But I know he's got like 3 battle reports that are still being edited for Age of Sigmar 2. And probably at least 1 for Kill Team as well. So there's loads of stuff still to come out that we've got filmed. We just need it edited. But they shouldn't take long. It should be like an hour to edit. So I might just grab them off him and just spend a few hours doing all of it. Alright. But I was also debating on just once I've got to the point where I know I'm filming, I know what I'm doing, and I can go to the studio and just film stuff. I was thinking I might just go down with me and one other person rather than having the third person to do all of the camera stuff, because I could just press the buttons as and when I need it. The problem with that is you can't do the zooms as much, so you can't like move the zoom camera around the battlefield and then zoom into a specific bit of action. So that's the downside to just having 2 people doing it, but obviously you can get more filmed in that time, so it might be worth it. Alright, let's get some legs on this one and see what's going on. What I should have done is just built one of these Harlequins first to see how they go together and how they look, and then I should have seen all the bits that I can convert afterwards. What have you been up to anyway, Mythos? I've not spoken to you in a long time. What are you working on? Are you doing stuff for the channel, or are you just having a break? You've got loads of work. I know you're busy with work. I think you've just been promoted, haven't you? Or a few weeks ago. I don't know what I'm actually doing tonight either. Or should I say I don't know what Rachel's doing tonight. Because whatever she decides we're doing, whether we're watching TV or playing games. We just bought Crash Bandicoot, the remake, the trilogy. I think she played half an hour and then turned it off. She loves it though. She was really happy to play it because she properly nailed it when it came out when she was a kid. And I did. I played Crash Bandicoot Warped, I think it was. That was my favourite. But she started on Warped. She hasn't started on Crash Bandicoot 1 or 2. She's gone straight to Warped and skipped all of the beginning. Yes, I have. Oh, yes, you have got a promotion. That's good. Congratulations on that. I know you've been working really hard on that, so you deserve it. I wonder, are you going to be doing daughters as well? Are they on the way? Ooh, that kind of... The Harlequins are quite dynamic anyway, looking at them. Got some really funky leg positions. We're mincing back to Civilization soon, so back to YouTube, that's good. It's funny you mentioned Civilization, Rachel's been playing that as well. Mincing. I don't know. I could see you mincing back to YouTube. So I don't like there's not much of an arch in there. They've got really thin waists, haven't they? Compared to my bulky one over here. So if I was to stick that on there, that cape would come down, but the tassels are in the way. I feel like she needs to have like more of an arched back rather than being straight up, because the legs are like that, and then the back is straight up, like she's just kind of hopping up into the sky. I like the idea like she's curling over. How am I going to do that? I'll have to chop out the back. Or just stick it on like that. Let's just stick it on. Probably not enough yet. There we go, maybe down like that. How long have we been going? Almost 2 hours. 2 hours of streaming and I've not even built one model. Brilliant. Might do more of these. I don't know whether to do it on my own channel separately or whether to do them on here or whether to just do them on Twitch. Because we were going to do more of the live stream group chats on YouTube. That's what we were planning on doing. Less hobby sessions, more group chats, get guests on. Eventually I'll do Daughters of Cain. None of my friends play AOS, but I love the models. That's a shame. AOS is my favourite. Easily. Saying that, I really like Kill Team over Skirmish though. Just because of I like converting the small individual models. Why won't you glue? I really don't like their thin waists. But like really large upper bodies, tiny waists. Alright, I'm probably going to call it. I'm going to go and chop these up a little bit more. So, I did longer than I was going to do. I was probably only going to do an hour. So, 2 hours of me rambling on. I've just seen the subscribers hasn't changed. So I'm sure somebody else... Oh no, there was a follow on Twitch. Okay, thanks everyone who's been tuning in. If you're watching this back, leave any comments down below on anything you want that's wargaming related. Or anything related to what we've been talking about in the chat today. Thanks to everyone who turned up to the show live. And I'll see you... What day is it? Today is Tuesday. Wednesday I'll be filming. It might be after... I've got this operation on Thursday. There's going to be at least a week or so until I'm going to be back on, potentially. But I might come on audio with Phil if he's doing a live show. So if he comes on and does a group chat, I might just jump on my phone or something. Other than that, I'll see you on the next video. So... Thanks for coming. I'll see you later. Boom.